welcome to Across the Omniverse, a podcast from Cinema Sangha. My name is Devin Faraci. I am one of the hosts of the program. Joining me, as he traditionally does...
My name is Dirk Faraci, and I'd say there's bad everywhere. Good, I don't know about that. How are you, Devin?
I'm okay. How was your trip?
It was good. It was a good time. It was enjoyable. Yeah.
How were your flights?
The flight there was fine.
Yeah.
The flight back, my flight out of Asheville got delayed by about a half hour.
Okay.
That would give me enough time to connect to my connecting flight at O'Hare. But then when we landed, we just sat on the tarmac for about a half hour. And at that point, I missed my connecting flight.
Okay.
Things looked bleak. I signed up for a standby spot on a flight that was leaving in an hour. And then a definitive, I have a seat on this flight that was leaving at like 3 a.m. And I got off the plane. I ran to the gate where the standby one was. Got up to the guy at the counter. I was like, please, please, please. He went through his stuff. Pop, 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 pop. He said, good to go. Here's your ticket. I was like, good to go. Contacted Buddy Shane, who's picking me up at the airport. Said, hey, I got a flight. I'm going to be late. This is the time, but I have a flight. All's good. As soon as I sent that text, I hear my name get called. I go over. He's like, I don't have a seat for you.
Oh.
I was like, oh. Now, it was me and 3 other people were on standby.
Okay.
The 3 other people were screaming at this guy.
Okay.
I said, I understand. These things happen. Thanks. He said, just hold on. We'll see if we can get you on another flight tonight from another airline or something. I said, sure. They load the plane. After 5 minutes after everybody's on the plane, everyone's still standing around. All of a sudden, security comes running, goes into the plane, comes out 5 minutes later with a guy who is also yelling. I don't know what happened on the plane, but something very much upset this man. And then the man behind the counter turned to me and said, I have a seat for you now.
Oh my God.
And it was first class. It was a first class seat.
Wow.
Yeah. So I can't complain too much.
Nice.
Yes.
Although first class from O'Hare to Detroit can't be that fancy.
No, I mean, it's
a small plane, right?
45 minutes.
Yeah, I'm saying it's a small plane, though, right? So you're on a small plane?
No, it was a pretty big plane.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
My original seat was 21F, right? So to give you an idea. And then I got moved into first class.
Wow. That's what happens when you're nice. See what happens when you're nice?
Yeah. It worked out.
And how was North Carolina?
It was beautiful. It's a beautiful state.
The weather was nice for you?
The weather was nice. The weather was very nice.
Yeah.
Something fun about our mother's hometown. They have a museum about the town and about the county. Mm-hmm. And outside the museum, which is an old courthouse, outside of it, they have a bunch of plaques to different wars. Mm-hmm. And the biggest one is for the Confederate soldiers of America. So,
yeah.
And to note, something, I'm bringing this up because we discussed this a lot during Peacemaker. And people pointed out that they figured out what was happening with Peacemaker early on.
Right. That's me. That's a plane.
That's you? Okay. All right.
That's a plane. Well, that's not me. It's a plane.
Yeah.
It's flying very low.
I thought I was hearing, earlier you said there was a noise on my end. I was like, now I hear it. What is that? But, okay. That Peacemaker people figured out that the other world was...
Nazi.
Because there were no people of color. The entire week I didn't see a single person of color. Mm. So I think for some of the country that would not be easy to pick up on.
Right.
But, yeah, it was a good time.
I got curious about that town today, and I saw they had the Appalachian Pinball Museum.
Yes, they were closed, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah. That is also, that museum is located in the building where Zelda Fitzgerald died. So, there you go. Yeah.
Good for her.
She died there. They turned it into a pinball museum.
She died playing pinball. She died playing Attack from Mars. Medieval madness did her in.
Yep.
She got the multi-ball. It was more than she could handle.
Too much.
Very nice. I saw 2 of the year's best movies this week.
What'd you see?
I saw Knives Out, Wake Up Dead Man yesterday.
I really want to see it. I really want to.
It's fucking great.
I really want to.
So good. And I saw the upcoming motion picture Marty Supreme.
Oh, how was that?
Terrific.
Yeah?
Just terrific movie. Like, really a great movie. And I
That's
absolutely
about
loved it.
table tennis, isn't it?
Technically.
Okay.
Technically. The thing about
So it's
Marty...
like a sequel of Balls of Fury?
Well, so the thing about Marty Supreme is... Imagine a 1970s movie about post-World War II ethnic strivers trying to get out of the ghetto and make something of themselves. Think like, but it's about capitalism in America. So think about like The Godfather, kind of.
Okay.
Not like in terms of actual story, but like sort of that idea of like Michael and the Corleones wanting to get out of the world in which they were in and go. And then also think about like The Karate Kid.
Okay.
And so it's an 80s sports movie that has been welded onto a 1970s character study in that environment.
Okay. All right.
And it's unbelievable.
Oh.
And it's full of 80s songs,
Okay.
despite being set in 1954.
Oh, it's set in 1954?
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's unbelievably good. And I loved every minute of it. And it is it's tonally not unlike Uncut Gems, but it is not Uncut Gems. I don't think it's as intense as Uncut Gems.
Okay.
But it very much is a movie about watching a guy fuck up an awful lot and
Yeah.
like getting kind of tense about it.
Yeah.
But also there's table tennis.
Do you think if we watch this and the Smashing Machine, we can figure out which brother is the more talented?
You know what? I gotta say that I have not seen The Smashing Machine, but this is one of the best movies of the year, so it does feel a little bit unfair. I mean, I could not believe how good it was. Like, It was just phenomenal, and I loved every second of it. I also watched on the Amazons Age of Disclosure.
I do not know what that is.
It's the big UFO documentary
Oh.
that has all like Marco Rubio's in it and like a bunch of senators, and it's all about that and like a bunch of scientists and stuff, and it's supposed to be like everybody telling you the most that they legally can about UFOs. It's like nothing new per se, but it's like the #1 movie on Amazon right now. People are actually watching this Age of Disclosure, and the UFO subreddit's lost its mind about it. So
There you go.
and last night I watched Apt Pupil.
I've never seen APT PUPIL.
The thing is, it's not good. And
Yeah, that's what I always heard.
yeah, and I watched it with my friend. She had just been reading the book and was like, I want to watch this. And I said, okay, fine, we'll watch it. And it's not very good, but what's really uncomfortable about it in the modern world, like knowing everything we know about Bryan Singer, who directed it, the movie is about an inappropriate relationship between a young high school boy and an old man.
Yeah.
However, in the movie, and I guess in the book too, but but we know that that's Bryan Singer's deal. And the thing is that within the context of the story, it's the young man who is blackmailing the old man into this inappropriate relationship. And there are times where you're watching it and you're like, is this what his point of view is? Like, these boys, this is what they want. Like, it gets very uncomfortable very, very quickly in a very interesting way.
What is the POV of the book?
I can't remember. I haven't read the book in 30 years. Okay. I will say the POV of the book does not include David Schwimmer in a terrible mustache as Brad Renfro's guidance counselor. In a really, like, as if the movie's not very good. It's very boring, kind of. And the whole movie is shot kind of in mid close-ups. It's really not interesting looking. But then all of a sudden, David Schwimmer shows up with a fucking mustache, and it's like, it just shatters the whole film. The film just cannot, it was not good anyway, but it cannot recover from that.
I mean, I have not seen that. I have not seen, there's a couple of Singer movies I have not seen. But I feel secure in saying that his one good movie is Usual Suspects, right? Like, other ones are fine. Like the X-Men movies, they're fine. They're not great. They at the time it was exciting.
Are you saying X-Men Apocalypse is not great?
That one definitely is. I was just thinking of the first two. I forgot that he came back with two more. I totally forgot about those. But I was thinking of X-Men X too. And at the time, we were like, "Hey, we're getting the X-Men." Like, who would have thought this day would come? So we were all very excited. But now, with what superhero movies are, looking at those, it's like they're pretty lackluster.
I want to revisit Valkyrie, which I have not seen in a very long time.
I saw Valkyrie once, and I remember not liking it. I remember being like, how is this so boring for such an interesting story?
That's the thing about APT PUPIL. It's really fucking boring. Like, it's really slow, and it's just not that good. But also, APT PUPIL, also worth noting that Bryan Singer did get sued during the making of that movie by a 14-year-old who alleged that he forced 14 to 16-year-olds to do a naked shower scene in that movie. Okay. And that was for sexual gratification, not for cinematic purposes. That's the claim of the lawsuit. I don't want to be sued by anybody. But it makes that shower scene deeply also very uncomfortable to watch. Like, okay. I mean, the thing is, the shower scene's not bad because it's Brad Renfro going into the shower at gym. And then as that's happening, he begins having these fantasies about being in the showers at Auschwitz. And that was me, yes.
What is going on?
That was my Citizen app telling me that the Hollywood Christmas Parade is live.
I'd like to think that if somebody be like, there are all these weirdos walking down the street. What is happening?
It's interesting. Like, the shower that he's in his mind turns into the shower at Auschwitz. So, like, it's interesting. Do you know what I mean? Like, conceptually, but then you watch it and you're like, oh, this is actually really super fucking creepy, and it makes me feel bad now watching it.
Yeah.
Not that great. I don't recommend a revisit.
There you go. I saw Rental Family.
I saw you say how much you loved it.
I really liked it. I liked it. It's a very nice movie. It's very very nice. Like, it's not a great movie, but it's like enjoyable. I enjoyed watching it. Brendan Fraser's really good in it. Everyone's really good in it. All the acting is very good, but he's the only name I know, so I'm going to use his name. But yeah, it's a really enjoyable, really well done movie. And it's interesting because there are things in it that I was looking at it from a American movie POV, where it's like, well, obviously this is what's going to happen, and then these things don't happen. And it felt nice. It was like, oh, they didn't go the basic path. Like, this is clearly more of a foreign film, you know. So that was nice.
Did we talk about me seeing the movie Sirat on this podcast? On one of these podcasts? Spanish film that's the Academy Award nominated for Spain.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
I had the same experience with that movie. The first half of it, I was like, I can picture the American remake of this because it's about a dad who's searching for his missing daughter at a rave and then falls in with a group of friendly ravers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can imagine
Robin Williams, and it's real goofy.
But like, he's like then following the dead, you know what I mean, the Grateful Dead and stuff like that. But then there's a moment that happens in the middle of the movie where I was like, oh, I can no longer imagine this is an American movie. Oh, they would not. Oh, no. So I had that same feeling. Oh, I can see how this would be an American movie. And then like, no. It was no, they would never do this. Okay. So do you see that down in north of the Carolinas?
I did.
We talked about this off the air, and I want my answer on the air. What's the movie theater situation like there? What's the story here?
From our mother's house, there's a movie theater about 2 miles away.
So you can walk to that.
In
case Derek ends up living there.
Yeah, which is possible.
Yes.
We'll see what happens in the next few months.
Anything is possible in this world.
Yes. We'll see what happens in the next couple of months as I look for a job. And but yeah, it's walkable. It's Epic Theaters. It's a really nice theater. You know what they had at this theater? Serve yourself popcorn.
Wow, they're very trustworthy of them, huh?
Yeah. And it says on it, like, 1 refill. It's like, how would you know? How would you know? Same with the soda. 1 refill. How would you know? It's serve yourself. You walk up. The whole thing is automated. You put your bucket down. You hit the button. Popcorn comes out. There's the butter there. So you can, like, choose how much popcorn to put in before you start putting in butter and mix it all up. It was beautiful. I loved it.
Yeah, but this is hurting jobs, though.
It is, and that's the sad thing. That is the sad thing. But, yeah, there were, I believe, 2 people working at that theater that I saw, which is not very many. But also, the theater was completely empty when I was there. So we went to like a noon show or sometime, well, like a 1 o'clock show on like a Tuesday. So
how many screens?
I don't know, a lot. A fair amount of screens, I would say. Yeah.
I mean,
don't
I
know how
think
many.
Rental Family is not exactly an indie movie, but I think it's not playing on every screen in America. So the fact that it was playing in Hendersonville feels
It's playing
good.
in over 2,000 screens, though.
Oh, is it really? They put that shit
think
on
so.
2,000 screens?
I think so.
God bless them.
I don't know.
I
Maybe
cannot
it's not. I
imagine.
don't know.
I cannot imagine that worked out for them.
I don't know.
If it's on 2,000 screens, but maybe who knows? Hey, who can say? But that's good. That's
They
good.
had a big thing for Wicked for Good, like a yellow brick
Standee.
road. No, like a yellow brick road, and then like a thing for, like an Instagram moment like, where you stand there, and it's got like the characters and whatnot.
Did it look official or did they make it?
It looked official. It looked official. Yeah.
Okay.
It was very nice. It was. They apparently, because last year that area got hit by the hurricane, and it flooded. Everything flooded. Like, so they redid the entire theater apparently, and it's a beautiful theater. It's a gorgeous theater. So good for you, Epic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Good for them. I'm trying to see how much money Rental Family made this weekend.
And how
Let's
many
find
theaters
out.
it's in? Because I could be completely wrong.
It made $2 million this weekend, and it was, oh my God, it was on 1,900 screens.
There you go.
That's,
It's
but I
more
think
than,
that's like that's the second weekend, this past weekend that just happened. Yeah, it was weekend 2. Total, it's made $8 million
okay. It's doing all right
worldwide.
for this kind of movie. That's pretty good. I think
It opened at $3 million in 2,000 theaters.
Okay.
So I don't know what the budget on this one was. It's a Searchlight
I
picture.
can't imagine it's very expensive. There's not many characters in it. It's all filmed in China.
In
Or,
China?
sorry, in Japan rather. Sorry.
Holy shit, that's getting clipped. That's getting clipped and put on socials.
Why?
Oh, I finally gonna get you canceled.
There you go. And then we'll both be in monetary trouble. Yeah. Yeah, but it's all filmed in Japan, which
Famously cheap Japan.
I mean, I imagine it's cheaper than filming in like LA.
I don't think it is.
You don't think so? I would think so. I would think. I mean,
They've got a major film
That was the whole thing
industry.
with they got a major film industry, but the whole thing with like Godzilla -1 was like, oh, it cost like $15 million, and look how amazing it looks. Like,
Yeah, but did he film it in Tokyo? I don't know where he filmed it.
they filmed it.
I'm gonna guess no.
I don't know where they filmed it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's a good looking movie, and there's only like 5 characters. There's not many characters in it, so I imagine it didn't cost that much.
When did you get home?
I got home Friday night.
Okay, so you've been home for a minute.
Yeah.
You came home Friday after Thanksgiving, huh? Mm-hmm. Really, just right back to it.
Well, when I booked the tickets, I thought I would have to work on a Monday. So I was like, I want to get home and then have like
A
a
couple days.
weekend to relax and get back into my
Sure.
routine of not talking
Sure.
to people.
Yeah, I get it. All right, we got any news this week?
We do. Danny Segrin has passed away. He was the first live-action Spider-Man on
Electric Company?
Electric Company.
That's terrible, actually.
He was also on Sesame Street.
Man, that's terrible. You know what? I didn't know that. I saw that this was in your news roundup, and I did not know if that 100% meant the actual Spider-Man from Electric Company, but I guess it is. And that was kind of a very important Spider-Man to me.
It was a very important Spider-Man. Yeah.
Man, what a headline here. Cause of death revealed for Danny Segrin. He was 81 years old. Like, who cares how he died?
Well,
Like,
what if he died of a heroin overdose? You'd be like, whoa, what?
I guess. Oh, but then this says the details as of writing remain under wraps. So they just put the headline on
So
it.
cause of death? I don't know.
Cause of death, he stopped breathing.
He was 81.
That classic, that was a great Spider-Man, man. It was a great Spider-Man. Well, rest in Parker. Danny Segrin.
Rest in Parker.
Rest in Parker.
There you go.
All right. You got anything less
Paramount.
sad?
Yes, Paramount has pushed back the release date of the Kendrick Lamar, Matt Stone, and Trey Parker movie. Again, it keeps getting pushed back. It was supposed to be March 2026. Now, I don't think it has a date.
I'm really curious how much of that is based on the movie and how much of that is based on evil people owning Paramount now. What do you think? What do you think the deal is here?
According to deadline. The reason is because Kendrick Lamar has been on tour since April, and he's still on tour. And Parker and Stone are working on South Park, and because of their schedules, they don't have time to promote, so they're holding the movie off.
They're holding it off for promotion.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we'll see.
Interesting. Huh.
It was supposed to open this past July, got moved because of their schedules.
That seems crazy that it's going to be delayed a year for promotional purposes.
I don't know.
That seems weird. And it seems like they didn't release it in July because they were doing the sale. And now I'm wondering if David Ellison is just going to make it disappear.
I mean, I feel like if that was the issue, Trey Parker and Matt Stone would be out there yelling about it. They're not afraid to say what's happening, you know?
I guess that's true. I don't know. Interesting. Very curious, though. Very curious.
Yeah.
This could be the guy who owns Warner Brothers in a couple of weeks, by the way. So
It could be.
Tomorrow, when this podcast episode airs, they will be doing the second round of bidding for Warner Brothers. So it's still happening. It's happening.
There's no good outcome.
No, there's no good outcome to this at all, is there? It's going to be bad no matter what. I was actually talking. So for the folks that don't know, if you were to join at the $50 level on our Patreon, you get the chance to talk with me on the Zoom every month. And I was talking to that's the Ascended Master level. And I was talking to one of our Ascended Masters today. And we agreed that things are so fucked up that we're hoping Netflix buys Warner Brothers. Like, that's the best case scenario.
You think that's better than Comcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. Right. Yeah, I don't want Universal and Warner Brothers to merge.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that continued consolidation.
No, I don't want it either. But I feel like Netflix, then just everything Warner Brothers goes straight to Netflix.
Yeah, but I think that once Universal's on its last legs anyway.
Yeah.
If Comcast were to buy Warner Brothers, Universal's over essentially, and I don't want that to happen. I want there to be a reasonable number of studios available to release product that feels different in its own thing. And Netflix, obviously not ideal, but like I do think that's what I'm saying. Like that's how fucked up it is that out of all of the bidders, I'm rooting for Netflix. Like they seem the least. Oh. I just unplugged my headphones.
There you go.
Let's see what happens when I plug them back in. Let's see if it works. I can't hear you, so you could say any kind of bullshit about me you want to right now. And there we go. I can hear you again.
All right, good.
I yanked my wire out of my headphones by moving. I'm too fidgety tonight. I had a Celsius today.
Oh.
Yeah. I had Celsius and coffee. So I'm all fidgety. Today. Okay, what's our next news item?
Our next news item is a Blue Sky post from you. President Donald Trump greenlights Rush Hour 4 at a studio that maybe doesn't have the rights is one of the better, more benign absurdities of this current moment.
Yeah, I mean, Rush Hour 4 is happening. I talked to somebody today who has a family member that's involved. So that's like that person is working on it. Like it really is happening. It's happening. It's supposedly at Paramount. I guess what happened is that a few years ago, Warner Brothers allowed New Line, who had it, which is owned by Warner Brothers, allowed the license to be picked up elsewhere. I didn't hear about it being picked up elsewhere, but I guess that's what happened. So now it's at Paramount. Donald Trump said that he wanted to see Rush Hour 4, so they're making it for him.
It's insane.
I mean, it's one of those ones, though, like, you know, if that's what he wants to do, let him do that. Like, that's much better than some of the other stuff.
But it sounds like an Onion article.
No, 100%. Right? It's straight up an Onion article. Do you want to hear it?
Like, it would be in our dumb century, and it'd be like, Ronald Reagan, green lights.
Bonzo 6.
Bonzo 6, yeah.
Yeah. Pretty amazing headline. I don't know if I could find it again, which was because Trump gave an interview today on Air Force One where because he said that Tim Waltz was a serious retard was the term that he used. And Tim Waltz, who has a developmentally disabled child who I believe is autism spectrum, obviously got offended by that and said, I want Donald Trump to release his MRI. I mean, anybody would, but that's especially in that case, it's one of those ones you're like, ooh, especially like. He said Donald Trump should release the results of his MRI, and somebody asked Donald Trump about the MRI, and they asked him what he got an MRI for, and he said he did not know, and he did not know what part of his body was MRI'd, but it wasn't the brain because he had already aced the cognitive exam that he's taken, I think, 3 times this year so far.
As you do.
As one does.
Yeah.
So that feels, the headline was...
He's taking the cognitive exam more than most people play, like, a crossword in a year.
Yes. But the headline was like an AP headline. It was like Donald Trump says he does not know why he got an MRI or what body part. And like, that's an Onion. That's a straight Onion headline. That is just an Onion headline. Yeah. So, yeah. So, yes, Donald Trump did, in fact, greenlight Rush Hour 4. But again, it's benign. Like, you know what? Who cares? Like, sure, make Rush Hour 4. Like, I'm not like, fine. Like, whatever. And it's obviously, by the way, a personal favor to Brett Ratner, partially. Oh, for sure. Because he directed the Melania Trump documentary. Yeah. And so that's the thing. Trump is pulling strings to get Ratner a mainstream directing job. So yeah. Ratner, who I had read, lives in Mar-a-Lago. So. Oh, does he now? That's what I read. I don't know how true that is. That's what I read. Oh, I have Brett Ratner stories, but I don't know if I can tell them on the show because I don't know if I'll get sued or not. You told one. Did I tell one? Yeah. Which one did I tell? I don't want to repeat it in case I don't remember if it was on here or if it was on Bad Batch. Or was it personal? Did I tell you personally? No, you told it on the show, I'm pretty sure. Was it about an offer he made to me? No, it was about being invited to a party. That was not Brett Ratner's party. That was... Oh, no, that was Brett Ratner's party. And yeah, and then they were going to... Okay, so now I did tell the story that he asked me what kind of prostitutes I wanted. Yeah. Okay, well, then I guess I wasn't worried about being sued at that point then. No. Or now, apparently, since you just said it again. Between that and me saying that rental families from China, this is the last episode. This is the finale, the grand finale of Across the Omniverse. Yep. The 6-week series. There you go. What else we got? Noah Hawley and Rob McElhenney. No, that's not his Rob name. Mack. I'm saying McElhenney, aka Rob Mack, because don't dead name Rob Mack. I'm not dead naming him. I'm making sure. I don't know how many people know he changed his name to Rob Mack. So how embarrassing is that he changed his name to Rob Mack? It's one of the most embarrassing things anybody's done recently, like outside of the government. It's it's pretty embarrassing. I don't really understand it, but I mean, it's his life. Let him do what he wants. He's not hurting anybody, you know. So whatever. Yeah, no, I guess that's true. I gotta just, you know what? He wants to be called Rob Mack. I gotta call him Rob Mack. That's what I gotta do. It's a basic human respect thing. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, they're making a Far Cry TV series that Rob Mack will star in. And there you go. It's an anthology TV series. Yes. And so every season will be different. Yeah. Like Fargo. Yeah. So it's Fargo, but video games. Yes. I don't think I've ever played Far Cry. I've played at least one of the Far Cries. What are they about? You're on a South American island, and you're just blowing things up. And in theory, there's like a drug kingpin there that you got to beat up. I don't really remember. But like, you're just driving around blowing stuff up and causing havoc. I don't remember there being much of a story. There must be. They may have a million of these, too. They've made tons of them. Oh, gosh, what's his name? The actor. Giancarlo Esposito? Yes, he's in like a couple of them, I think, or at least one of them. You know, so there's something going on with him. I don't know what, but there's something. Anyway, Scarlett Johansson has signed on to star in the next Exorcist movie by Mike Flanagan. So here's the deal. I'm just going to say this, and I know that there are certain people that aren't going to like this, but I think Mike Flanagan could not be the worst possible director to make an Exorcist movie. I just cannot imagine a worse director for an Exorcist movie. And no, you're not a director. Like, I think an actual working director. Do you know what I mean? Like who's in that space. And the reason why I say that is because Mike Flanagan makes heartwarming horror movies and stories. His things are always like at the end, there's always like an uplift piece to it. Like, oh, it was love that the ghost was missing, you know? And the thing about The Exorcist... I mean, a lot of the time, like most of his stuff, there's like it's about either overcoming trauma or it's about like healing. A lot of healing goes on in Mike Flanagan stuff.
Sure, I don't disagree with that, but like,
And I don't think that belongs in an Exorcist movie. I don't think there's any healing in an Exorcist movie. And I think that, in fact, the terror of the original Exorcist is the existential question, what if evil exists? Like, not just an idea, but actually exists. And with that question, you can't heal that. That's what makes it scary. It isn't, you know what I mean? Like, the only answer is that you have to throw yourself out a fucking window. That's the only way to deal with it.
Well, no, that's not the only way to deal with it. We know that because there's like 30 Exorcist movies, and that's how each one ends. Although if each one ended with like a guy just jumping out a window, I'd probably watch them more often.
Well, the second one's pretty bad, and the second one is ends with the whole house collapsing, but nobody does sacrifice themselves in that one. But Richard Burton should have. And the third one.
Third one's a great movie.
Great movie. It's just not really super. It is connected because the devil is inside of what's his name, but Brad Dourif. Yeah. But I don't think that's got a particularly happy ending either. That's not like a lot of healing in that picture either. I don't think.
I don't remember how that one ends.
So
I don't think George C. Scott doesn't die, right? Like
I can't remember. He's fucked up at the end. I think. I think at the end George C. Scott's daughter ends up doing porn.
No, that's a different movie.
This is not a prequel to.
I mean, maybe it is. I don't know.
It could Exorcist 3 prequel to Hardcore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I just feel like the Exorcist premise is one that lends itself to darkness, and I don't think that Mike Flanagan's a dark filmmaker.
I don't disagree with you, but it's funny that you say this because the last Exorcist movie was all about overcoming trauma with love, and you love that movie. You're a big fan of it.
I'm not a big fan. I thought it was interesting and I liked it.
Have a room full of posters of it.
And I think what's really interesting about that movie is that I think
you like the religious aspect where it's all the different.
It's all the different types of exorcists that come together. Yeah, I thought that was something is interesting to me.
And then at the end, it's just the dad being like, "Please, I love you," and all the religions are like, "Oh, we fucked up. We don't have."
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah. My thought was that I had heard that Flanagan said that he didn't want to focus on dark stuff anymore because that isn't the legacy he wants to leave his children. And if that's true, if that's a true quote, somebody told me this. I did not actually. I'm looking for it, and I can't find this quote. So perhaps But if that's really where he's coming from these days, he should not be making an Exorcist picture. An Exorcist picture should send you out of the theater deeply unsettled about the looming darkness in the universe. Like that is what it should do, I think.
How many Exorcist movies have there been? There's been like 6?
So there's been the 3 original. There were 2 prequels.
Both made at the same time.
No, they were made separately. They made one prequel, and then they canned it, and they made another prequel, and then they released that first prequel that they canned. They ended up releasing it eventually anyway. And then there is the Exorcist that David Gordon Green did. Yeah. So I think there's 6.
And the Exorcist TV series.
Exorcist TV series.
That's really good.
It's really good.
Really good.
It's really good, and I think that. Yeah, I think that might be it. It would be kind of amazing if Flanagan was like, "I'm going to make a movie that picks up from the Exorcist TV series." Yeah. But he, anyway.
Yeah. I love that show.
I'm just I don't mind Mike Flanagan, but I just feel like Mike Flanagan's deal is just it's a little soft.
My issue with Mike Flanagan is. Every third scene is a 5-minute monologue that explains what the character is feeling and what their motivation is. That is my problem with him.
That's why I dipped out of Midnight Mass.
Really well written monologues. And for the actors, I imagine it's like, this is great. This is meaty. I get to really dig into this, show off my stuff. And that's great. But like when it's happening like every couple of scenes, it's like, all right, come on. Like,
yeah, come on. I dipped out of Midnight Mass because of that. I couldn't keep going.
I watched all of Midnight Mass. I liked Midnight Mass, but Midnight Mass was from day one, it was like, oh, somebody couldn't get the rights to Salem's Lot. And he's just going to make it. Mm-hmm. And I enjoy it. I think it's good. His other House of Usher, I did not finish. I did not finish that one. But right? That's the last one he did for Netflix.
Yeah, I think that's the last one he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and Hill House, I liked. That
Hill
one I
House
liked
is
a lot.
great. Hill House is really great. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Hill House at the time, like it felt very moving and interesting to have that story have that like redemptive healing element to it. But now it's like when it comes to The Exorcist, I'm like, no, do not do this. Do not have Pazuzu realize that actually Satan never loved him as a child, and that's why he is the way he is now. Like, just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't hug it out at the end.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how Clayface goes since he wrote that. He didn't direct it, but he wrote it.
They did a pretty hefty rewrite on him, though. So
Did they?
yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll find out. Kill Bill, the Kill Bill chapter known as Yuki's Revenge, is coming to Fortnite. So you'll be able to play Beatrix Kiddo in Fortnite. And in the little clip they put out, she's hanging out with somebody on the back of her car. I'm guessing it's Yuki. Or on her motorcycle, I'm guessing it's Yuki. And then Superman shows up to help them out for a minute.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. Superman is involved in Kill Bill.
Yep. And I imagine it's everything that the Czech Tarantino wanted. So, yep. There you go. There you go.
After Gogo Yubari was killed in a duel with the bride, Gogo's sister Yuki is sent to California to hunt her down and avenge her death. Once in the States, Yuki tours the city of Battlewood as she inches closer to the bride, purchasing a bright pink sports car before confronting her outside a motel at night. The bride attempts to ward Yuki away from vengeance to no avail, and a firefight erupts. Yuki chases the bride into an empty home and barges in, only to be shot multiple times in the chest. Yuki pulls out a knife and lunges at the bride as a last resort, but soon succumbs to blood loss. I guess that's the entirety of the thing. I guess I just gave it away. Yeah, I guess so.
Tarantino on it said, they got together with me to talk about some situation where my characters in Fortnite do something kind of groovy. So I showed up at the meeting thinking they were just going to talk about what they want to license, that they want to license the characters, and they want to get my ideas on what will be a fun thing to do. As it turns out, the powers that be at Epic Games had other ideas in mind. Rather than license his characters, they wanted to see if he had something in the 8 to 12 minute range that could be good for our purposes and make sure your iconic characters are wrapped up inside this. As it turned out, Tarantino did have something.
So it says here on the Fortnite wiki that it will be screened in cinemas in the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom alongside Kill Bill Volume 1 and Kill Bill Volume 2 as part of Kill Bill The Whole Bloody Affair. And this was supposed to have been in Kill Bill Volume 1 originally, although I don't know where that possibly would have happened. But because Kill Bill Volume 1 ends after the House of Blue Leaves where Gogo Yubari is killed.
Well, he says here he had the entire chapter in the original first draft of Kill Bill, but it never made it to the second draft. So he cut it very early.
Yeah, he cut it very early. So I guess this is going to be, it's interesting because I was wondering the length of Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair is too long. It's longer than the can cut. And I was trying to figure out what's going on here. And I know that for the anime sequence, he had originally written that as about 30 minutes, and they cut it down, but the fucking studio on their own ended up animating like a whole lot more of it later, like over time. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's going to also be in that. And plus this, if they're going to have there's going to be a Fortnite scene in the middle of Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair.
Superman just shows up in the middle of Kill Bill? First off, what's the legality of that?
Well, he won't. It'll be just, this section will be just its own thing. In order to maintain the violent nature of the Kill Bill films, blood and gore is represented by res energy, while death is represented by a spawn drone. So I guess that's going to be now in Kill Bill. I don't know. This whole thing seems fucked and weird, frankly. Frankly, very fucked and weird. So
I feel like all of this is because Tarantino just can't figure out what he wants his final movie to be. That he's caught himself in this thing of I'm only going to do one more movie, and he's like, well, I got to keep making money somehow, so we'll do a TV show. I'll do this thing with Fortnite.
Well, I'll tell you something. I know this actually does feel a little bit like just a very Tarantino thing. Like, he would argue that this is the modern day of doing a cartoon on, you know what I mean? Like when they did a RoboCop cartoon, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be the argument that he would make here. And I am kind of curious. I mean, it's very, Uma Thurman is doing The Bride.
Sure.
So
Get paid.
yeah, kind of fascinating. All right, what else we got?
And finally, Viola Ford Fletcher, the oldest living survivor of the 1921 Tulsa massacre, race massacre, has died. So
Very sad. She's not going to make it to the end of our Watchmen rewatch. I doubt she was listening.
she was 111 years old. So,
What do you think? What do you think? Do you think that she watched that first episode of Watchmen?
I don't know. I wondered that.
I mean, I feel like somebody, like some reporter, wanted her to watch it so they could talk about it. That feels like a gimme in terms of like doing a story. Yeah. That would make her. She's the same age as Will Reeves then.
There you go.
Because he was 105 in 2019.
Yeah.
And so that was 6 years ago. So she's the same age. I'm not trying to reduce the life of a real person into but we're talking about Watchmen, and that's why it's in the news right now for us. Like, that's why we're covering it on our news. Yeah. So it's interesting. I do. What's that?
Shockingly, still one more person alive from the Tulsa race massacre.
You just said she was the last survivor.
That's what it. No, did I? I said oldest, didn't I?
Oh, she's the oldest? So there's somebody younger?
Well, no, because they were 111 as well. So I guess maybe by a couple days. I don't know. But that's Leslie Benningfield Randall. 111 is the only living survivor of the massacre.
It's too old. You don't want to be that old. Just why would you want to be 111?
I don't know.
It seems awful, right?
It depends. It depends on what you're feeling like.
I don't know if anybody's ever made it to 111 and felt great. I don't think the human body is designed to feel great at 111. Somebody showed
her brother, by the way, Fletcher's brother died at 102.
Good
in
Lord,
2023.
God, the fucking genetics on these people. God. Well, rest in peace to her, and I wish that she had been able to see reparations happen for that, but that did not happen, unfortunately. And sadly, she did not also get to live to see the end of Donald Trump. So that's also a little bit sad, a little bit of a bummer. But,
whenever something like this happens, I think of that fake Rock tweet where he's like, so sad that like Henry Kissinger died. Now he'll never get to see the greatness of Black Adam or whatever it was.
It's so good. It's so fucking. I mean, it's so believable. That's such a believable.
The first time I saw it, I was like, it's hard to be sure that this is fake. Like, I can see him doing that.
Oh man, we got letters this week.
We do. Tom says, "Hi, Devin and Derek. You were talking about comic biographies and histories on the show last week, 10/12/2025, and you didn't mention True Believer: The Rise and Fall of Stan Lee by Josephine Reisman. It's quite good, affectionate, while also quite critical, and it talks about all of Stan Lee's life and posits that Stan Lee's greatest creation was Stan Lee. Have you read this? And if so, what did you think?" I have not read it. I
have it on my Kindle, and I've read the first chapter, and I mean, it's not a reflection on the quality of the book or anything like that. It's just like one of those things where I read the first chapter, and then I just never went back. Like again, it's nothing to do with the book.
That's why I've stopped buying books for my iPad, is because I'll read a chapter and then forget it exists. But if I have the book sitting in front of me, I'll remember.
Yeah, so that's the thing. If I have the book sitting in front of me, I won't forget that it exists. I will just feel guilty that I'm not reading it all the time.
Oh, I got a whole pile.
Constantly feel bad about myself, as opposed to putting it on my Kindle, in which case I don't have to feel bad about myself. So, Hey, do you know what I bought over Black Friday weekend?
No.
I bought the Brick. Have you been getting Instagram ads for the Brick?
No.
The Brick is a device that you tap your phone on it, and it locks you out of certain apps.
Oh.
And you have to tap it again to get the apps back.
Oh.
And two of my friends got the Brick, and both of them swear by it. And so I have ordered myself a Brick in an attempt to get this very bad phone addiction a little bit under control. And, technically, like, you can always unlock it whenever you want, but like you kind of got to get up and do it. And you have to think about it. Like, you can't just like mindlessly do it. You have to think about it. So I'm hoping this helps.
But you also have to think about locking it.
Yeah, you have to think about locking it.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I hadn't considered that. I had not considered you, but yeah, it's on its way here. I don't have it yet, but that speaks to sort of my attempt. I've been attempting to read more books. I used to be a big reader. I'm not really anymore. And this brick is the latest in my series of attempts to read more books so that instead of, I'll be able to still look at my phone and like look at my Kindle on my phone if I want to.
Sure.
But it'll lock out the apps that I know I waste time on.
Yeah.
Bad news if you happen to be Marvel Snap. Very bad news from Marvel Snap. All right, what's our next letter?
Moses says, "Hi guys, I keep seeing content about the cartoon Invincible popping up in my feed, and so far I've completely ignored it. Maybe because you guys have ignored it. Any thoughts about it? Worth checking out, or should I continue to live in blissful ignorance?" I watched the first season. It was fine. I didn't like it. I didn't dislike it. I also read like the first trade of the comic, and I really liked that at first. And then it's not a spoiler since it happens very early. Once it's revealed that his dad is evil, I was like, this is no fun. Like
Right.
I thought this was going to be a more lighthearted, fun story, and I was not interested in like, you know, what if Superman had a kid and also Superman was evil?
Right.
You know, like I'm just not into evil Superman stories. They bore me. So that's where I dropped out.
I have not watched it, but this week I started thinking that maybe I need to start watching it. And the reason why I maybe need to start watching it is because one of the characters, Powerplex, is played by Aaron Paul. And Aaron Paul said he quit the show because playing Powerplex was too dark for him. And it was affecting his mindset. Wow. And so I have got to see the cartoon that's too dark for Aaron Paul. I kind of got it. Like, I feel like, how do I kind of not find out the truth about the character that was too dark for Jesse Pinkman to play?
Yeah. Yeah.
He played 2 episodes. It was too many episodes. He couldn't handle going that dark.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I want to see that.
I know, that's the thing. Like, what's Aaron Paul announces?
Do? That's crazy.
Yeah, so...
What if he meant just like when he was trying to read the script and the sort of dialogue, it was too dark. He's like, it's too dark in here. I can't do this.
These jerks they're going cheap on the lights. I can't see shit in here, man.
Yeah. Who knows? He's got a new video game out that he does. He's the main character in the game, and I'm interested in it.
I'm sure it's great.
It's he works at like a emergency services where they send out superheroes, and he's the one taking the calls and stuff. And it looks like fun. It looks like my kind of thing.
I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's absolutely incredible.
Be more sincere.
All right. What's our last letter?
Scott says, "Hi guys, this is not exactly a question, but a comment on your discussion of Ozymandias in Watchmen episode 5. I was a little surprised that you did not make the connection to Thanos when discussing the morality of Adrian's plan, because while it's different in scale, they're basically the same MO. An utter and complete narcissist thinks that the only way they can save the world universe, only they can save the world / universe, and it doesn't matter how many people have to die to achieve it. And both, of course, both do not in any way risk themselves in the process." What are you doing?
Sorry,
Can you pay attention?
I'm paying attention. I was trying to read along, but then I got distracted.
Where's the block?
I got distracted by a picture of a dog. Sorry.
And both, of course, do not in any way risk themselves in the process because the universe could not continue on without their brilliance and insight. I am positive in Thanos' case, he himself was never at risk of dusting from his own snap, and certainly Adrian was nowhere near New York 35 minutes ago. They are both people so blinded by their own inflated sense of self and lack of empathy that, of course, committing the most horrific acts of murder is justified, even in theory, the cause is a good one. The parallel seemed clear, and I'm surprised it did not come up. Really enjoyed the podcast.
I mean, I'll tell you why it didn't come up. And there's two reasons. One, that's not why Thanos does anything. I mean, that's invented for the movies. So there's no real connection in terms of the comic, Adrian, or whatever, because that was invented for the movies. In the comics, he killed half the universe because he's in love with death and he was making a gesture. The other reason why it doesn't come up is because Thanos is stupid, and his plan is stupid in a way that is, he has godlike powers, and if you want to make that his decision, that there's not enough stuff for everybody in the universe, which A, is nonsense because the universe is infinite, but B, he has the ability to make as much stuff as he wants. So this is the problem with that. Like, when you're first watching the movie, in Infinity War, you're like, wow, that's really interesting. Wow, that's like, that's a real metaphor for like, how do we deal with the problems that we have as a society and as a planet now? But then when you start to take another second, you go, wait, he's the power of God, the power of literal God, like not just like, but like, now even if they dumb that down for the MCU, which they might have, like we don't really know the exact abilities that are, in the comics, having the Infinity Gauntlet, having all the stones, really made him like unreal powerful.
Yes.
He could have unmade all of creation if he wanted to. But so that's the problem, is that Thanos' plan's stupid. He just could have made as many resources as anybody needed. Like, he could have created a post-scarcity universe. There was no reason he couldn't have. And so maybe the argument there is that what Thanos has is a limited imagination. But I think that's one of the big problems with changing his motivation for the movies, is that once you give it a moment's thought, you go, wait, huh? And again, in the comics, he wants to impress Death, so he gives half the universe to her. That's fucking operatically awesome. That's so awesome. And it's indefensible, too, is the other thing. I understand, like, within the context of, like, Thanos was right. And that was a thing they played with a little bit in the MCU briefly in Hawkeye. But, like, I don't know. Like, I think that's why it didn't come up, because I never think of that as Thanos' plan, and I also think that should not have been his plan. So, like, in terms of, I would love a retcon in the MCU where somebody's like, oh, that Thanos was just full of shit. This is actually why he did it. Like, because that plan is just so foolhardy, frankly. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
No.
So.
No. But it's all about balance.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't, like, it just doesn't.
They do touch on it in the movie, because Gamora has the whole speech where she's like, you act like you're doing this out of kindness to the world or whatever, but you love nothing. Like, so the concept there, I always look at it as like, because he is so full of hate and whatever, the idea of just creating more does not come to him. The idea of destroying is what is.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, but that still continues that's a limited imagination. And that's different, I think, than Adrian. I think Adrian has a very large imagination. I think Adrian has a lot of thoughts about how to potentially go about this, and he has settled upon one as he believes the best. And the best, most effective, and probably fastest, frankly.
The main thing with Adrian that we have not seen yet, and I'm sure we'll get a comic of it sooner or later, is the time he had squid for dinner, and that's when he came up with the idea. That's what I'm waiting for, is that comic book.
Well, you're going to fucking laugh pretty hard when it's a 12-issue Tom King miniseries and you fucking love every page of it.
Yes. I will.
Each page has 8 panels on it, because that's how many tentacles the squid has. And it's 12 issues, and the whole thing is set at one dinner, and each issue takes place over the course of 2 minutes. So it's one course, 24
each issue
minutes.
Is one course of the dinner. Yeah. I mean, if it's well written, great. But
if folks have questions, where can they send them to?
They can send them to ask.cinema.sanga@gmail.com. In the subject line, just go ahead and put in the name of the show you want it for, Across the Omniverse or Bad Batch. And then one question per email, please. And while we're at it, if you're watching this on YouTube, why not like and subscribe? Give that a go.
Why not?
If you're not watching it on YouTube, why not? Go watch it, like and subscribe.
And why not join the Patreon, www.patreon.com/cinemasanga, SANGHA. At the $7 or above level, you get our monthly podcast, Watchmen, where we go deep dive into usually superhero films. This past one, we did, what did we do the last one?
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. We did Last Jedi. I think it's a very good episode. I can't remember what it is, but I think it was very good. Go back to that Thanos question. I want to just say, like, I'm not being dismissive. When I first saw Infinity War, I was caught up with Thanos' reasoning.
It works,
and I liked it. It works in the moment. It's just that over time, you're like, wait, that's stupid. Like, hold on, that's dumb.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
don't know
the
if you guys
thing.
know this. Devin's been working for CinemaSins, so he's always looking for things like that to point out.
Yeah, but no, when I first watched it, like probably my earliest responses to that movie were like, wow, that's a great premise. That's like really speaks to the moment, you know?
Yeah.
And then it does. Like, it's not like, in terms of like being a metaphor, it isn't the worst metaphor. It's just that, unfortunately, being cognizant of the level of power that guy was controlling at that moment really makes him seem like he's got no big thoughts on his head at all. So, all right. You ready to talk about the next episode of HBO's Watchmen?
I am.
All right. Then, in that case, let us do it. Watchmen, season only, episode 6, This Extraordinary Being. That's a quote from Hollis Mason's autobiography, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, about Hooded Justice. We open with Hooded Justice in a police questioning room, and he's talking to two FBI guys. And Hooded Justice is very gravelly and not very happy. And the FBI guys know a couple of things about Hooded Justice. They say, hey, we want to picture your beautiful face, and we want to know who you are. And, we love you. You're the original superhero. We think you're the best. They don't mean it. They're being sarcastic. And they say, but we also know that you happen to bang Captain Metropolis. What do they call him?
Captain Big Cockulus.
Captain Big Cockulus.
Which I loved. That made me laugh.
And it turns out that Nelson Gardner, Captain Metropolis, who is the lover of Hooded Justice, according to what we see here, has files in a safe. And it is film and photos of him banging out dudes. And one of the dudes, who does he look like, Derek?
He looks like J. Edgar Hoover.
He does indeed. But it can't be Director Hoover, because Director Hoover is not a degenerate homosexual, we are told.
No.
And so they say to him, what we need you to do is we need you to go get this picture of Director Hoover and bring it to us so we can destroy it. And you need to let us see your face so that we know that you'll go do this. Like, this will be like
we're going to take a picture, and then when you bring the picture we want, we'll destroy the picture of you.
Yeah, so the Hooded Justice takes off his face, and he is, in fact, a Broadway star.
He is Abraham Lincoln in Oh Mary currently.
And he also, a little inside joke here, he's an American Horror Story.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
Oh, I know him from 30 Rock.
Yeah, he's from 30 Rock, but he's also has been on, I don't know if he's on every season. They reuse a lot of the cast on that. But yeah, so that's a little bit of the inside joke, because we will find out quickly that this is an American Hero Story segment that we're watching. Yes. And he, rather than get his picture taken, he beats and kills the two FBI guys. Beats the shit out of him. And then we realize it's American Hero Story, because they say cheese, and he punches the guy in the camera, and then we have a long fight scene, and then when the guys are dead on the floor, he goes, cheese. This is really great. Really good.
It's good stuff.
And that's when we realize that it's the American Hero Story as being watched in the police precinct on the desk of a cop. Laurie Blake comes in and is like, turn that shit off. Angela Abar is in a holding cell from last episode. She has OD'd on nostalgia, which is memories in pill form.
Yes.
Later on, we find out that nostalgia, Lady True makes it, which we knew from PDpedia last week. And Lori fills us in on some nostalgia info, which is they put a chip in your brain that takes memories out, and somehow they put those memories in these pills. And the original premise was for dementia patients so they could have their memories, but people soon discovered that they liked reliving old good times rather than having new bad times, and that people were ODing on it and stuff like that, and it was very bad, so it got banned. Angela's taken this lethal dose.
Bottle of them. Yeah.
Here's the thing. The premise here is that Lori needs Angela to sign a consent form to pump her stomach.
Yeah.
I don't believe that would be the case.
I cannot imagine that would be the case.
That does not seem at all reasonable. to me.
No. I would think this is a medical emergency.
Yeah, it's a medical emergency. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, like, if somebody is having a medical emergency in police supervision and that person dies, the police are going to get sued. Like, there's going to be a lawsuit and there's going to be an investigation. So you would imagine that you cannot make that have to be consensual. That seems crazy to me. Like,
Yeah.
especially if she was, like, having a medical emergency and could not sign a fucking piece of paper. Like, sorry, you're going to have to die now.
Sorry, you've been shot in your own conscience, but we can't do anything until you sign this.
I don't fully understand why this is part of the story. It's not an important part of the story, but that's why I don't understand why it's there.
I'm wondering if it's something that I don't remember comes up again later on, that they were just trying to get her to sign something.
It looked like a consent form. Maybe it was a different kind of consent form. That's possible,
Yeah.
I guess. That's a different kind of consent form. Yeah, I don't remember, actually, to tell you the truth. And I wouldn't put it past Lori Blake to do that, to pull you know what? You're right. Maybe I'm judging.
It might be. I could be completely wrong, but it might be just something I don't remember happening later.
Interesting. Well, it turns out that Angela is deep inside the memories of her grandfather, Will Reeves. And she has traveled back in time to 1938 when he
I like how it starts at first, though, where it's like, first there's the drummer, you know, and then we see, like, the woman in the crowd and, like, around Angela. And then, like, as Laurie is talking, even Laurie starts going black and white and color and stuff. Like, it's very cool. This whole episode is very cool.
It's really gorgeous. And what I like about it is that it has a lot of moments that feel magical that are practical.
Yes.
Like when a camera moves away from one and then it's Will and then moves back and it's Angela, it feels magic, but all that you had to have was an actor move out of the way. Like that's all. But it feels
only
special.
One that I couldn't figure out how they did it.
They just did it through digital editing. That's how they did it. With the camera swirling around.
Yeah, when it's the hug.
Yeah,
you know, it's like,
that's just digital editing. That's just they digitally stitched together two sequences. But other times when the camera pulls away and then comes back, it's just they just moved.
Actor stands up, actor sits down.
Yeah, I think that's pretty great. So it is Will Reeves. He's becoming a cop, a New York City cop, and it's the ceremony for that. And the white guy who's giving everybody their badges skips him over, and then a black cop has to come and do it. Here's the deal. That black cop's a real guy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Samuel Battle. He is the first NYPD, a black NYPD officer.
Really? Wow.
Yep. And guess where he's from?
New York, I imagine?
Flushing, New York.
Really?
Hometown hero.
There you go.
And he fought in the Civil War.
Really? Wow.
Yep. He got sworn in 1911. I don't know 100% if he was still around in 1938 per se. I honestly don't.
He's supposed to be in this.
Oh no, he was. He was around until 1941.
Okay.
He was serviced until 1941. He lived until 1966.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So how could he have possibly fought in the Civil War in that case?
How old was he when he died? He was 122.
That doesn't seem right.
Maybe he was born during the Civil War? Is that possible? Could that be it?
Oh, he's the second, the very first. He was born in 1883. Okay, I am looking at information that is confusing to me right now. I'm not that smart. Anyway, he gets pinned on. I'm not really going to go too much into when it's Angela and when it's Will. It's not always super important per se.
No.
It's all black and white. I think there's a really couple interesting things about choosing to make it black and white most of the episode. One is that it makes it feel different from the rest of the series.
Yeah.
Two, it serves as a really stark contrast to the bright colors of American Hero Story.
Yeah.
And three, I think that there is a subconscious thing where black and white feels true to us.
Well, here's what I found interesting about it, is that the pills are the nostalgia. What she's going through is everything's in black and white, except for when he's thinking back to things.
Right. There's all these moments. there's these moments where his memories kind of burst through and those are in color. So it's like his mom playing piano at the theater, memories of just like intrusively interesting memories of the race massacre. Some of those are really amazing. There's like real dream logic to some of this stuff that's really exciting.
Yeah. At one point, he opens up a door and he's in the middle of the street, and like stuff like that.
And then he walks. Yeah. Cool. It's very fucking cool. Did you recognize who plays Will Reeves?
I did not.
You might be watching him on a weekly basis.
Oh, that's right. He's
on
Wonder
Welcome
Man.
to Derry. No, he's not Wonder Man.
I thought he was Wonder Man.
That's your second time getting canceled this episode.
No, I didn't think he was playing Wonder Man, but I thought he was in one. Because isn't somebody from Watchmen in one? Oh, fucking, what's his name is?
Yes, Cal Abel.
Cal. Yeah, I couldn't remember who was. Yeah, I'm sorry. It wasn't that. It was just that I'm bad with names and people.
Okay, well, let's just save that one. So no, he is Mike Hanlon's grandfather in It. Welcome to Derry.
Really?
Lee Hanlon, yeah, the military guy.
Oh,
yeah,
there you go.
That's he's doing that weekly. He's doing the weekly. He's back on HBO 6 years later. Here he is. There's a new one tonight.
I just watched the last week's.
What'd you think of it?
I loved it. That was great. Yeah. The previous two episodes, I was like, but this one I really liked.
People were complaining about this last one a little bit, and I get it because, like, it turns into aliens a little bit.
Sure.
But, like, that actually feels very Stephen King to me.
Well, I really like that the military's in the sewer, and they're like, anything you see that doesn't belong here, shoot it right away. And also the kids are in the sewer, and they don't know. Yeah. I was like, that's a good setup.
It's a good setup. But, like, when the guys get attacked by Pennywise in the form of Uncle Sam, I was like, that's so Stephen King because it's stupid. Like, it's just like, nothing is more Stephen King than something stupid. Like, that is, if it's corny, that's him. That's 100% him. Anyway, different TV show. I don't think any of that's real spoilers, frankly. I'm trying to be careful about spoilers. I don't think that's right. Uncle Sam shows up.
They're in the sewer, and
Uncle Sam,
Pennywise shows up as something else.
Kills people. Yeah, that's his whole deal. That's like his whole, yeah. When Sam Battle puts the badge on Will Reeves, he says, "Beware of Cyclops," which somebody should have told.
Scott Summers.
Somebody should have told Odysseus, not Oedipus. Oedipus became a no-clops at the end of his story.
Yes.
There's an Oedipus on Broadway right now, and somebody on Twitter was like sat next to people who had no idea what Oedipus was about. And like at the end of the show, they were losing their fucking minds.
That's fantastic.
It's kind of amazing to fucking sit through an entire production of Oedipus and be shocked by what happens at the. What the fuck? It's his mom? Spoilers.
Imagine surviving 2,000
unspoiled.
Unspoiled on Oedipus. But did they watch the play that they're like, that's why it's called Oedipus Complex. Okay, now
they have no idea what the Oedipus Complex is. I guarantee. Yeah. They've never heard of it. We then have Will having a drink with his wife. She's a reporter, and we're gonna learn later on. I have like mixed feelings about this. That she's the baby that he rescued that night.
Yeah, that's a little weird. But
right? It's also a little weird.
It's weird, but it also feels weirdly comic booky. So I'm cool with it.
I mean, yeah, it's not. It's just weird in that it's one of those things. Like, was there no version of this where she just could have been the same age as him?
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because he has to raise her, so like that relationship inherently is.
Well, does he? I don't know if he raises her.
He kind of has to, right?
We don't know what happened. This is actually one of my problems. My one problem with this episode. I think this is a great episode, but there's a part of me. It's like, I wish, because she took all the pills, she was jumping back and forth between different memories.
Yeah, but
we would see him as like a teenager and stuff like that. But
he put pills in there for her, though.
He put them in.
There's a reason why there's a pill for him killing Judd. I mean, like, it's there for her. Like, that's the whole thing. And that was Lady Trusa last episode. Like, why don't you just fucking tell her? Like, why do you have to go this pill shit? Like, give me a break. And he's like, hey, it's a comic book. We got to do it. We got to do it right. So the New Amsterdam News wants to write an article about him. He's a black cop. It's very exciting. He's not really super interested in it. But she's like, you're a very angry guy. He goes, I'm pretty chill. She goes, your parents got killed right in front of you. Like, how are you possibly not an angry guy? And that's going to be a running thing for him. Then we cut to him on beat, and he comes across a guy throwing a Molotov cocktail through the window of a Jewish delicatessen, and it's Fred. Guy. It's Fred Trump. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty
wild.
It's Fred Trump, yeah. In the Watchmen universe, Donald Trump is never born. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're back. And as I was saying before, Donald Trump does not exist in this universe because Fred Trump is killed before Donald Trump is born.
Truly the better place.
As bad as things are, 3 million people died in New York, but maybe it's a better reality anyway. That's pretty dark. That's
How
pretty
many
dark.
people died because of his COVID actions?
I don't think 3 million people.
Probably not.
No, I
lot,
think
though.
a lot. Yeah, but we have not hit 3 million. So here's the deal: is that Will goes and chases down this guy whose name is Fred. He runs a grocery store in Queens. He is coded as Fred Trump. He's not explicitly Fred Trump, but he is almost certainly inspired by Fred Trump, who did get arrested at a KKK rally.
And who did own a grocer's for a period.
And so it turns out that Will brings this guy in. This guy's pretty racist to his face. When he brings the guy in, he's racist at the station, and the cops are like, don't talk to our guy like that. But as soon as Will turns him over, they let him out right away. Yes. And there's also a sign that gets made. It's the OK sign, the white supremacist OK sign. It's a sign of Cyclops. And he finds out that this guy got let out because as soon as he leaves the precinct, he goes into the newsstand and finds Action Comics #1 there on the newsstand. And he finds out about the story of Superman. This might have been the one thing that I might have changed.
Yeah?
I wouldn't have had him flashing back to his own origin story while being told Superman's origin story. I think I might have let the audience just get it.
Sure.
You know?
Although it's interesting, this episode did not have a previously on. Which I thought
That's a good point. That is a good point. But I think the thing is, I guess that maybe the flashback maybe is important because it's about his inspiration. Do you know what I mean? Like he sees himself in, okay, you know, I'm going to take it back. He sees himself in Superman. So therefore it actually is important. Okay, fine. Lindelof, you got me again. So this is when Fred comes brushing up against him and Will calls the office and the precinct's all like, what happened? Let this guy out. And the cop's like, I have no idea. I have no idea who you're talking about. Like there was nobody here. So let's just, let it be. Just let it go. And he says, if you don't drop this, they're going to fuck you up. And in fact, that's exactly what happens. Will's on his way home and a bunch of cops pull him over, beat the shit out of him, and stage a little mock lynching where they hang him from a tree briefly, just long enough for him to begin to lose consciousness, which we can tell because the whole scene is from his POV. Really nicely shot. Really interesting. Shot. Yeah, they put the hood over his head, and then we're in his POV, and we sort of see the camera lifting off the ground and hovering, and then we see the lights on the headlights of the car begin to get weird, and then darkness starts coming in. It's really incredibly well done. And then they drop him just before he's really fucked up, and they're like, next time, I won't forget the gravy. And so it's, it's bad. He's got a bad experience, because they beat the shit out of him. And he's staggering home. He still has the noose around his neck.
He's got the noose around his neck. He's got the ropes they used to tie his hands together.
They're still on. He's got the hood in his hands, and he sees a couple getting mugged in an alleyway, and he just kind of throws the hood on and runs in.
Just throw the hood on.
He puts holes in it.
This is perhaps the hardest thing to buy in this episode, if not this whole series, is he just sticks his fingers through the hood to make eye holes, and then he puts on the hood, and they're perfectly to where he needs them to be. And it's like, that's impressive.
And it's pretty good. He can really eyeball it. So he runs in, and it is a brutal fight. Like, he has like a lot of anger and like a lot of adrenaline to let out, and he is letting it out on these guys. Yes. And this is from Hollis Mason's book as well. Oh, this is the first appearance. This is his first thing. In the book, it says that he jumped into the alley from the roofs, but here he runs in. But I think it's arguable that Hollis Mason's book, A, is not entirely trustworthy, and that B, the reports of the people being beat up is not totally trustworthy.
That would be my thought. Is probably the reports. They were like, he came out of nowhere. So
Yeah.
they're like, all right, he jumped off.
Yeah, he jumped in. We didn't even see him show up, and so that I thought was pretty interesting, and pretty cool. And so that's sort of his origin story. Is this bit? That's where the news. It's really interesting because in the comic, he is a white guy. Like, I don't think Alan Moore wrote this comic with the impression. He's not only a white guy, but I'm not even sure. I feel like we're supposed to kind of take Hollis Mason's thing about him saying good things about the Nazis at face value.
Yeah. And we, in the additional material in Watchmen, there's a photo of him and, what's his name? Captain Metropolis at an event where they're just like in their civilian identity.
No, there's never a photo.
Isn't there one that's
no,
like,
nobody
it doesn't
knows
explicitly say it, but it's clearly
There's
supposed
like
to be them?
I mean, I think there might be one that people think is or whatever, but nobody knows who Hooded Justice is.
No, but it's something that's in there that it's clearly saying like, hey, that's them right there.
The problem is that in the additional material, that would all come from in-universe stuff, and nobody knows who he is. So how would that be? I don't remember that at all.
There's a photo. I'm telling you.
I think it might be a photo that that in-universe some people think. But remember, Hollis thinks that he's that weightlifter.
Yes.
So like I don't think that if that was the weightlifter in the photo, Hollis's thing would have much more weight than it actually does, and so I don't think that there is. I don't think that there is. There might be a thing like, but I think the premise here is that maybe Nelson, if that exists, and I don't recall it, that Nelson Gardner's just fucking a lot of dudes.
Yeah, that's possible.
I think that's very reasonable. You know what I mean? Like I think that's very, very reasonable. So he goes home to his wife, and he's all beat up, and it is a real moment for him. So he's like, I am angry. Like, you're right, I am angry.
And she's like, what? It's been like weeks since we had that discussion. I don't know what you're talking about.
And so the next day, we see that the newspapers are calling him a hero. They say it's a masked man, this masked hero, this
Hooded.
costume adventure.
They specifically call him Hooded.
Hooded, yeah. And June's like, why did you put the hood on? Like, why did you do that? And he's like, you know what? He's like, what was that movie? And then they connect it to the Bass Reeves movie that he watched, where Bass Reeves rolls in. But she's like, give me a fucking break, because like, what was the townspeople in that movie were all white and they loved this guy. But the truth is that, you know, if you took that fucking hood off, nobody's psyched to see who's underneath it. Yeah. And so she puts white paint on his eyes, so that when he wears the hood going forward, it'll look like a white man underneath. Yeah. And this is really interesting because it's the opposite of what Angela does. Angela puts black on her eyes, and here he's putting white on his eyes.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's like a generational thing, right? I mean, where he is hiding his true identity by making himself appear white. She hides her true identity. In part, she's got the mask that goes over her nose and mouth, but also she chooses a darker tone than her skin to throw it off a bit. And I find that very interesting.
It is interesting. I do wonder how much of that is just a different way of portraying a domino mask.
I mean, I think it's on purpose with this show. I don't think
with the show, yeah. I mean, it seems pretty. It seems pretty clear. So Hooded Justice figures out that Fred is involved with Cyclops. He goes to Fred's place and sees guys going into the back area, and they're doing the Cyclops sign. And what we have is he goes and busts into this back room of the grocery store, of Fred's grocery store, and discovers that they're KKK guys. And we have another big fight scene here. And in the process, it's a good fight scene too, by the way.
Oh, it's a great fight.
It's a really good fight scene. And again, it's very
fights
brutal.
in this episode are fantastic.
They're really great.
They're very Zack Snyderish. Like, they're very brutal, very like, a lot of like one shot, long shot kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I feel like they're less stylized inherently than the Snyder stuff.
Yes, no, they are. I mean, until the end of this fight when he goes through the window.
Right, then it gets super stylized. Yeah, but
it reminded me of like the Batman warehouse fight in Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
It had the same kind of feel to it, where it's
I
just
get
like
it.
a rage battle. You know,
Yeah.
it's awesome. It's good.
So he discovers that Cyclops is involved with the KKK and that they have a book on mesmerism and that they have a map with a bunch of locations. And then the fight continues because one of the guys he thought he put down did not get knocked out, and they come fighting into the grocery store. And Fred Trump is behind the counter and takes a shot at Hooded Justice. Well, did you notice what he shoots?
He shoots the cabbage.
He shoots the lettuce.
Or he shoots the lettuce. Okay.
Lettuce.
Oh. There you go. I didn't put that together.
Yeah, we got ourselves some lettuce again, boys. And this is when Hooded Justice jumps out the window. Now, what is interesting here, and what I guess it's interesting they didn't do it previously on, this is the scene from American Hero Story that we first saw, but that version, and the version that I believe that Hollis Mason talked about, was that Hooded Justice stopped a stick-up at a grocery store. And Hollis, remember, was a cop, too.
Yeah.
So this goes against what is in the source material, but my bet is that the argument here is that Hollis heard the story from the other cops, and this was all a cover-up, since these guys are all connected. Cyclops is all connected to the police department, so it had to turn into a cover-up, where it's like, oh no, he busted up a... Yeah. And because everybody likes Hooded Justice at this point, they can't say, oh, actually, he's a bad guy. They had to figure out, how could this guy be here getting into a fight in a way that was going to work for the narrative. Yeah. So that's my take.
This whole episode is against the source material. You know, from him being a black man to, you know, the whole KKK thing is not in the original Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons, Watchmen stuff about Hooded Justice. Right. And I think it's really interesting how it's done here. I think it's a really well done thing of, like, as we'll get into with the Minutemen and how that plays into it and stuff. I think it's very, very cool.
It is really interesting. And then he comes home and Nelson Gardner comes to... What did I miss now? Oh, yeah, we had the whole thing where she talks to Lori, but that's... And then Lori just gives her information, which is what...
What I really like about this is that, you know, Lori is... Angela is, like, frozen in the moment, and it's real cool looking. And also, like, Lori is black and white and Cal is black and white, but every now and then little highlights of color appear on them and stuff as she's, like, breaking through. That's just great filmmaking.
It's really good.
It's just really cool.
It's really, really good. Nelson Gardner comes to see Will Reeves, and I like this because this is so Silver Age. Yes. Where he's like, I am here on behalf, I'm representative of the costume adventurer, Captain Metropolis. And June's like, this Captain Metropolis, he happened to be blonde, and I don't know about maybe your height. It's just like so fucking funny. But basically, he comes and tells Will, hey, so my understanding is that you're giving information, wink, wink, to the Hooded, because June doesn't leave the room. She won't leave the room. So Nelson's trying to maintain the secret identity, not realizing that he's wide open to June and eventually to their kid. And he's like, I understand that you're feeding information to Hooded Justice. This is why, you know, Captain Metropolis, being a master strategist, figured out that, you know, these are all the places Hooded Justice hit, and these are all your beats. So I think that you're giving information. And Nelson basically pitches him on the idea.
My question is, does he know that he's Hooded Justice, or does he really think he's the cop giving Hooded Justice information? Because when he says that, his wife laughs, like, you're an idiot, like, was the feeling I got from the laugh.
But it's funny because she's laughing because she knows he's Hooded Justice.
Yes, but does Gardner know that he's Hooded Justice?
Yeah, he does. Because when they're in bed later on, and that's the first thing that we see Will ask him, when did you know? He goes, the second I saw you. And I do believe that. I straight up believe that.
But I feel like it's also kind of playing on the Clark Kent Peter Parker thing, where it's like, oh, Peter Parker, he's Spider-Man's photographer, and that's why he's...
No, that's what it is. Right? No, that's the whole representative. I'm the representative of Captain Metropolis. But I think that Nelson 100% knew.
Okay.
There's no reason for him not to, because they immediately fuck, like, narratively.
Before Hooded Justice joins the Minutemen. They're back.
Yeah. So like I think that there's no narrative reason for him to not know. Like it's cleaner that way in general. So I think that it makes sense that the second that he saw him. And I think there's also really interesting PDpedia stuff, by the way, that they give a lot more depth to this relationship, which the episode does already, but then the PDpedia stuff gives even more depth, including that when Nelson Gardner dies in 1974, he gets into a car accident. He gets beheaded. His head is never found. That's from the comics, right? That's got to be. That's a total.
That sounds, yeah.
That's a total thing.
Familiar.
Yeah. So, but his will, he leaves his entire estate to Will Reeves.
Okay.
And then they include the will itself, like the handwritten will. And in the handwritten will, it's like, Will Reeves told me he didn't want to see me anymore after 1955, which is right not long after they broke up Minutemen.
It's right when Marty McFly arrived.
In Hill Valley, yeah. So it's connected to Hill Valley. He's like, I've never bothered him, and I have kept that, but now all my stuff has to go to him. And then he leaves these instructions where it's like, he's either going to refuse part of it or the entirety of it. And he says the part that he might refuse is the IP rights to Minutemen and all associated characters like Captain Axis and stuff like that. He says the argument you have to make with him here is that basically all of this stuff was built off of him because Hooded Justice was the one that inspired us. And so this is all appropriation of his image, which is an interesting use of language. In this will comes from 1971. I'm not convinced that's how he would have put it in 71. But in 2019 modern terms, the idea of appropriation, that a black man in American culture, that is very often how it goes.
Yeah.
And Superman, it was created by Jewish kids.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, so like there's an appropriation piece to it. What are you thinking about here?
I mean, in universe, this would really reveal who Hooded Justice was to everyone, though, wouldn't it?
No, because it only goes to the executors. In universe, by the way, all of this stuff that's happening, Angela is narrating it to Laurie the whole time.
Okay.
And
really?
Laurie writes a memo to the FBI saying, well, now we know that Hooded Justice is Will Reeves.
That doesn't make sense.
Why not?
Because when Laurie breaks into Angela's memories here, she says, you're in a coma, you can't move, can you even blink your eyes? So she's not talking.
I'm just telling you what it says in Peteypedia, that she has been everything that Will says, Angela's saying. Angela's saying out loud everything that Will is saying. That's what's in the... And so within the context of the Peteypedia and the memo that Laurie writes to the FBI, she says, now we know that Will Reeves, this is the final mystery man, has been unmasked. So, and she goes, it's funny, I thought he was my dad for a little while. Which she now knows there's no way that Will Reeves was her dad because it just wouldn't make sense. Anyway, yeah, so Nelson Gardner has his sex with Will Reeves. Will Reeves, when he first says, it's interesting, they're laying in bed after having just fucked, and Will Reeves is like, when did you know? And Nelson Gardner's like, no what? No, I was Hooded Justice. And the underlying question here, though, when did you know, is gay. Yeah. It's kind of really interesting. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that Will's sexuality is really interesting, and it's not like fully explored. Like, when did Will come to understand that he was bi or whatever his deal is? Although it seems like he loses a lot of interest in his wife once he begins sleeping with Nelson. But it's like hard to know if that's just all superhero stuff. Because this scene also ties, this is an Alan Moore thing. So the reason why in the original comic it made sense that Hooded Justice, like the Nazis, was because Alan Moore insisting on tying superheroes to fascism, right? That was like, so like that makes sense. But the other thing that Alan Moore does is tie superhero stuff to sexuality again and again and again. And that begins in this episode with the American Hero story, where they're like, you know, I think that the noose that you wear is about the hangman. My partner thinks it's about sex stuff. And then so here Nelson like goes and puts on his mask and is like, hey, next time can we wear our masks? And so that's very Alan Moore-y too. The idea that all of this is sexual perversion fundamentally.
The cool British comic book writers love to be like, it's all fetish. And to this day they do that.
It kind of is though.
I mean, to a certain extent,
like it's
but also
super
like,
weird. Like it's super weird.
No, definitely. But it's also like, all right, we get it. Like, you know, this was the problem with the Boys comic book, where it was like, by the way, they're all weird sex people, and it's like, all right, I mean,
Weird sex people.
you know.
And so Nelson tells, because Will doesn't want to join Minutemen. And Nelson's like, well, we have to have you. You're the originator. You legitimize the whole thing. Like, everybody wants you on our side. And he's like, you know, and Will's like, you know, actually there's like this whole conspiracy I've been investigating. And he's like, oh, great. That sounds like exactly our kind of thing. And he's like, the one thing is that we're going to have to keep you secret. Like, nobody can know your story because not everybody on this team is as tolerant as I am. Oh, that's the other piece of it. Is that within the will, the sense that you get is that from the Peteypedia is that Nelson is basically realizing how racist all of this shit was back then and feels bad about it. And it's interesting because at one point when Will is on the phone to Nelson later on, like, hey, I found Cyclops, and Nelson's like, look, I can't solve black unrest. That's what they are solving. That's one of the things he has on the map in Crime Busters in the 60s. He has black unrest as one of the problems on the map that Crime Busters will deal with.
Yeah.
And that's a very specific term, black unrest. And it's focused on in the comic because when the comedian burns that map, that's right where the black unrest thing is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that the premise of the show is that Nelson Gardner ended up feeling bad about this stuff and began to like get like post civil rights era maybe begin to understand, because he's like, at one point he's like, I always knew you outlived the rest of us because out of all of us you were the only one fighting true evil. So
Okay. And we see that too when they're introducing Hooded Justice to the press as the newest member of Minutemen, that you know, the press are like, what do you want to work on? And he's gonna bring up the KKK stuff, and Captain Metropolis cuts him off and is like, we're looking into a new
Moloch and his
Moloch.
Yeah,
and it's the same exact case.
Yeah.
You know, but he's not looking at it in the right light, I guess, would be the
No, it's not the same case.
phrasing.
Moloch is not Cyclops.
That's the feeling I got from it, because Moloch's whole thing was mind control.
No. Moloch's thing is a solar panel where he's going to burn New York City to the ground. That's what Captain Metropolis is talking about.
Yeah, no, he says it, but
Moloch is not connected to Cyclops at all. No, he's not. No, in fact, what it is there is that Metropolis is like being like, no, we're not going to do political shit. That's not what the Minutemen are all about, the Minutemen. And that's one of the things that he says in his will is, I realize now everything we did was political. Like, every decision that we made was political. And so I think that's a really interesting piece to it too. And which is kind of fascinating because it really is an attempt to, like, I mean, I guess, you know, Nelson Gardner in the comics, when he's trying to do the Crime Busters and it never takes off, everybody's like, you're a fucking joke. He's like pathetic in that scene. Yeah. And then it's kind of interesting. There's like a sense here in the Peteypedia of an attempt to like rehabilitate him a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, no, Moloch has nothing to do with Cyclops. Like, he would have shown up, like, if he did.
Yeah.
And I don't think Moloch had anything to do with mind control.
I thought he did for some reason.
No.
I thought like one of his things was mind control.
No, I think it's Moloch the Magician, but that still, I don't know. Yeah. So when he joins the Minutemen, June's like, why would you want to do that? And he's like, I need a team. Like, this Cyclops thing is too big. I can't do this by myself. It's got like all these people in power are involved. And she's like, well, I'm your team. And he's like, yeah, but I need somebody who can punch people. I mean, that's really what I want. And what's really interesting is that this show, when it's introduced that Will's dad was in World War I and got these propaganda leaflets from the Germans saying, black man, why are you fighting for America? And then his thing was written, his Take Care of the Boy was written on the back of one of those. Yeah. You could assume that maybe this was going to be why Will, because again, Hollis Mason says the Hooded Justice said things that were positive about the Nazis. And you could maybe think, believing that German propaganda, having read it his whole life because it's the one connection he has to his family, that he believes that the Germans just want their own space and then it makes perfect sense and yada, yada, yada. Like that would, but the show doesn't do that. Like it doesn't even touch on in fact, it has him keeping Nazi clippings because he clearly doesn't like Nazis.
But it could be as simple as at like a Minutemen meeting, they're talking about Nazis for whatever reason, and Hooded Justice you know, he blurts out unthinkingly, like, there were some things they got right. And then, you know, they're like, what do you mean? Like, House is like, what do you mean? He's like, don't worry about it. I'm not going to talk about it. Because he doesn't want to be like, well, they dropped these pamphlets and said America doesn't treat the black people well. And
I mean,
they're right about that.
Lindelof gave an interview where he said that in his headcanon, I don't know why he didn't put this in the show, but in his headcanon, Will felt the need to, as part of the character of Hooded Justice, to separate him as much as possible from his position as a black man, might have been to say things in meetings to other Minutemen.
Like how Barry Allen's always late because he doesn't want people to think he has super speed.
Right.
The dumbest fucking thing in the world.
So he's always racist so that people don't think he's black.
There you go. Yeah, that makes more sense than like I better be late all the time, otherwise people will think I'm the Flash. You know.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. So he gets called to a movie theater where there's been a big riot that broke out, and it's pretty bad. Like, it's pretty fucking harsh. And there's like dead bodies in the theater and stuff like that. And the racist cop is outside, like, Will's like, hey, what happened here? And the racist cop is like, same thing that happens. You put a bunch of animals in the same cage. Why don't you go in there so you speak their language? And he goes, and there's a woman in there who he talks to who's like, there was a sudden flashing light before the movie began, and there's a voice in my head telling me to hurt people, and I had to, and I didn't want to, but I had to. And then he sees a guy like leaving the theater with like a projector, so he follows the guy. And basically he follows this projector back to Cyclops HQ.
To FT and Sons.
FT and Sons. And that is Fred Trump's warehouse. And he puts a bullet in Fred Trump's head first.
Fred Trump, I am concerned about Fred Trump's memory issues.
Why?
Because you would think, you know, at some point in the past couple of years, he decided to throw a Molotov cocktail into a Jewish deli, and he got caught by this black cop. And then the black cop, or I guess it was Hood Justice, showed up at his place, so he doesn't know that. But, like, you'd think you'd remember that cop. He'd be like, oh, I know who you are. You're the, like...
The one black cop.
The one black cop, and you arrested me that one time. You know, and then I saw you in the street that morning and, like, caused some problems. Like, you think you remember, but he's like, I know you, don't I? It's like, that seemed weird to me.
I mean, I guess it's that racist thing. Maybe there's more black cops at this point. I don't know what the black cop situation in NYPD is at this point. It's been a couple of years, I guess, right? It's been 2 years now? Maybe?
I think. I no, it's got to be longer because he's got 2 kids, and his son is like 6 or 7, right? Like, his son is old enough to be like, I want to be like you, Dad, when he gets home.
I guess so. Has the war happened already then? I guess it must have.
I don't know. Yeah.
I guess it must have. So he puts a bullet in Fred Trump's head, and he does it like out of he just does it because he hates this fucking guy. Like, that's straight up what he does. He just puts a bullet in his head because he hates him. Like, I think there's a real discussion to be had about the idea of superheroes committing violence and murder and when it is or is not reasonable. And because he's shooting a bunch of KKK guys, it feels hard to be like, you shouldn't do that. Yeah. But this first one, the one that sort of sets it off, is very much like, oh, he had no reason to do that. And in fact, it probably is maybe not even a good thing to do in terms of like getting information about Cyclops. It feels like maybe this is a guy you want to talk to. And maybe if you want to torture him, I get it. But like putting a bullet in his brain, making sure he definitely cannot talk to you. So then he goes into the warehouse and kills all the guys in there. And it's pretty good. He one-shots almost all of them.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's really good. Aim. Yeah, and then he goes into the other room, and there is that nasty little cop we've seen a couple times, and he is creating the mind control narration. The colored man is your enemy. You will not hurt white people. And turns out Will's a lot of bullets. So in an echo of his own lynching, he takes the cord of the headphones and chokes this guy out with it.
Great.
It's pretty good. And it's very brutal. And again, it's tough because one of the premises of this episode is that Will realizes that he has become too violent. And it is the quote when he's being inducted into the police, which is that the uniform will change who you are and make sure that it changes you into a good person or whatever it is they say. And that plays back again later where like he's thinking about like how this, identity has changed him and like what it means to wear the noose and shit like that. But at the same time, it's tough because like, yeah, you should definitely put a bullet in the KKK guys' heads. Like, I don't necessarily feel like these guys are super redeemable. And it's kind of an interest, but I think what becomes...
I think it comes down to right because he does this and then he burns down the whole place and he goes home and he sees his son wearing the cape and putting the paint on his face and he's like, I want to be like you. And I think it's not so much that he's like, oh, I become too violent. He's like, I don't want this life for my children.
But what's really interesting, when he burns down the place, it flashes to his memories of Tulsa burning.
Yes.
And so it is both showing the revenge, but also drawing a comparison.
No, very much.
I think it's impossible not to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so...
But I think for him, it's, I don't want my children to live a life of anger.
Right.
Like, I don't want that for them. And that's why he freaks out when he sees his son like that. That's my theory on it.
I also think it's really interesting, and this is obviously on purpose, and I guess there's no place else to really examine this, but also part of the fact that his son's trying to put whiteface on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that he has told his son that the way to make change in the world is to be not a black person.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't really go into that, but like, no. I think it's interesting. And it feels like it is there. Like, there's no way that you come in, a black father comes in and sees his son making his face up like a white person and doesn't have some sense of that. It seems to me.
Yeah.
But
and also, if this was a common comic book, that kid would become like Kid Justice or something. He'd become his sidekick.
Or he would get so mad about how his dad behaved that he'd become his dad's greatest nemesis.
Oh, there you go.
That's another storyline.
I'm the anti-justice.
Yes. So June sees him trying to he's yelling at the kid and trying to get the paint off his face, and June comes in and is like, no, I'm sick of this shit. We're going back to Tulsa. And Will's like, I don't want to go to Tulsa. She goes, I didn't say you, buddy. And she's like, we're fucking done with them. And but before this is when Will called Nelson, and Nelson's really dismissive about the whole thing. He's like, this isn't really Minutemen's deal. Like, we don't do this kind of shit with the Klan. That's not cool. Like, we do, like, supervillains. There's a funny bit where when Hooded Justice comes out of the back room of the grocery store, of Trump's grocery store, during the first fight against Cyclops, and right before Fred Trump shoots at him, he goes, what the fuck are you supposed to be? Yes. And there's a bit in Under the Hood where Hollis Mason said it made them all feel better to fight costume villains because it seemed less silly.
Sure.
Like, the idea of going up against regular dudes while you're wearing long underwear felt sort of weird and silly, but when you're up against other guys also dressed funny, it felt like you were all doing the same game. And so I think that's kind of funny that, like, within the context, somebody's like, what the fuck is your deal? Like, what the hell's going on over here? So we kind of basically end the old-fashioned flashbacks there, and then we cut to the night that Judd is killed, and the television program Watchmen attempts to give its entire audience a seizure.
Yeah, seriously.
So we see this all from Will's point of view in the wheelchair, where we realize that Will has taken the Cyclops technology and he has put it into a flashlight.
Yeah, because he took one of the projectors home with him.
And he has put it into a flashlight. This is an interesting, also a continuation of the premise that the episode is dancing around a little bit, which is, you know, is using the tools of your enemy actually wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So again, that's the comparison of the burning of the warehouse with the burning of Tulsa. That's the, the idea of the wearing the noose, and then also here using the Cyclops tech, which is evil tech. I love it, by the way, that the show is just like, yeah, they have mind control flashes. Yes. I love it. It's just comic book. It's just, and I love that. Like, the same way that within Watchmen, as heightened or as real as it often tried to be, every now and again, and be like, yeah, here's some crazy comic book shit out of nowhere. Like, yeah, these guys just do this shit. So I really love that.
But Dan's got a flying owl ship.
Yeah, why not? She's got a flying owl ship. Yeah.
Rorschach has a what do you call it? A gun that he can shoot 80 stories up and like climb. Like,
perfect.
Yeah, whatever.
we have a scene here where Judd is talking to Will under the tree where Judd's about to be hanged. And Judd is like, you don't know anything about me. And Will's like, you got a fucking clan robe in your hood, in your closet. He goes, it's my grandfather's. Like, I'm allowed to have it. You know, it's my legacy. Because if it's your legacy, why aren't you displaying it? Like, why aren't you proud of your legacy? And Judd's like, I'm trying to save you people. You have no idea what is happening here. And Will doesn't care. And Will's like, well, you're going to go hang yourself now. And this speaks to the discussion that we had way back in episode 1, which is interesting rewatching this because I don't remember a ton of stuff about the end of the show. So like some of my like thoughts here are not based on knowledge. They're based on like vibes, partially from like kind of remembering, but also that like the show has not gone out of its way to make Judd a bad guy. Like if anything here, once again, Judd's like, you know, hey, like I'm actually trying to help people here. Like, and now that we know that Judd and Joe Keane were like working together to like keep the cavalry police thing calm, it's interesting. I don't necessarily know. Again, I don't remember where this is going, but also the show is not super wild about Old Man Will.
Well, no, but I do think the show is hitting on something that we discussed last week, and we had very different feelings on.
Yeah,
and it's Adrian's actions and our thoughts on it. This is the same thing.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll fix it. I won't even bother you with these problems. I'm going to fix them all. Only I can do this. And that is the standpoint, and that is consistently the wrong thing to do because it does not work. It is bad. It is just maniacal thing to do.
But I don't know that it does not work. That's the thing.
It does not work.
Where does any of this stuff tell you it doesn't work?
Where does it tell you it does work?
That 30 years after the events of Watchmen, that there has been peace between the Soviet Union and the United States, and that nuclear war, which was imminent, never happened.
But nuclear war, you know, we don't know that it would have happened. Like there's, you know, it's playing out on the 80s things of the time, and we all thought nuclear was going to happen at any minute in the 80s.
No, 100%.
Nobody put a giant squid in Manhattan and stopped it.
No, right? But I think the thing is that in the comic, it's not just it's going to happen in a minute. It was much more Cuban Missile Crisis stuff. Like when the Cuban Missile Crisis happened, people were going to church and praying because they believed they were about to be vaporized. And they were close. They were close. It was quite close.
But it did not happen.
Yeah, but the premise here is that, like, it did not happen. Like, it's kind of amazing that it did not happen. Like, it's legitimately incredible that the world did not end because of the Cuban Missile Crisis. The world really came right up to the brink.
Extremely close.
And it's one of those quirks of history, the way it played out. You can't count on that quirk of history happening again and again. If you go back to Watchmen within the context of the comic, war is 100% going to happen. It's not even a question. Russia has tanks at borders to come into Europe. And in the final days, final pages, all of the characters are like, I guess this is it. Like, we're done now. Like, that's the thing. That's been the story with everybody at the newsstand is becoming more and more.
Yes, but again, it's happening because Adrian has driven Dr. Manhattan away. So now Russia feels they can do this.
Right, but the thing is
Adrian causes the problem that he wants to fix.
But the thing is that we talked about last week too, that Adrian doesn't think that the current... He knows that John is going to go. He knows that John's not going to stick around. So he's rather get John to go when he is in a position to do something about it, rather than wait until the random moment when John goes and he doesn't know it's coming. And he can't do the thing.
His answer is the same as the Thanos problem. Oh, I'll kill... Instead of like, we can find diplomatic ways to handle this. I'm the smartest man in the world.
But you can't. That's the problem. That's the whole thing with the Cold War, was that there was no diplomatic solution to the Cold War. The Cold War ended because the Soviet Union collapsed. And then the fact once Russia started coming back, it's back on again. Like, there's just no version. I don't think there's a diplomatic solution. Like, this sounds very doomeristic, but I think that mindset, there's something uniquely Russian about the mindset, but also uniquely Soviet about the mindset that Putin has, that I do not think you can discuss. Like, I don't think this... We're watching this happen with Ukraine. You can't... There's no diplomatic solution to Ukraine. There's just none. Because any solution that does not have Putin winning fully is a bad solution for him, and that's the opposite of diplomacy. And that was a very Soviet position. And also, I think America wasn't going to fucking cede ground. Like, oh, yeah, you can have more of Europe. That was just never going to happen. There was no diplomatic solution to. The only solution was either America or Russia goes. That was the only solution, and it ended up being the Soviet Union that went first. But that was only. I honestly don't think historically there was another way out of it.
I think that's ignoring a lot of history.
Like what?
Like we had, by like the early 80s, it was quite clear that there was not going to be a nuclear war.
That's the most insane thing I've ever heard.
No,
throughout the 80s, I was still doing duck and covers, and
yes, we were still doing that stuff, and it was stupid. There was smart. The relations between U.S. and Russia had improved. Like it was like these.
I don't think
was still happening.
The day after
war was not.
No, the day after came out in '83. So that was like one of those moments that we look at, and like the day after was a real representation of current day fears about nuclear war. So it came out in '83. That was still the case through, like I would say, mid '80s. And the reason why Gorbachev began thawing things out with the U.S. was because he knew the Soviet Union was collapsing. Like he saw it from within, and that's the reason why we got glasnost. If Russia had stayed, if Soviet Union had stayed strong through the 80s, there would be no question that would have just kept going. But because Russia had overextended itself and it was in a position where it was beginning to fall apart from within, he had no other choice. And there still was like coups and shit after that. Like it still got hairy. But like that's the thing. I don't think that the 80s, it was dark as shit in the 80s, man. Like I was fully convinced in the mid 80s that I was not living to see 40. Like I just was fully convinced. There was just no world where we made it past the new millennium because nuclear war was so clearly about to. Fucking Watchmen came out in 85 and 86.
Yeah.
And the whole premise of nuclear war happening right now it felt present. It did not feel like, well, that was a thing of the past.
Because we were still dealing with these were stories being written by people that were kids or whatever when the Cuban Missile Crisis happened, and we're like, holy shit. And like, don't get me wrong, there's still the possibility today of nuclear war, but it was not. We are on the verge of nuclear war.
I just disagree. I just fundamentally disagree. I think that that's a really ahistoric perspective. I think it's a perspective that looks back and understands things that people did not understand then, like looking back at trends and where trends came from and stuff like that. But throughout that period of time, nobody in the Western world believed that we were past the precipice of immediate nuclear war. We were consistently still considering the idea that at any minute this could happen. Any minute, like that, all of a sudden shit would go off. So I just don't, like, all it would take would be like the wrong plane getting shot down by accident, and then we were done. And I think that is just a really ahistoric perspective on that particular period. I think that through the fall of the Berlin Wall, a year before the fall of the Berlin Wall, it began to feel like maybe we weren't all going to die immediately. But like through 85, 86, for sure, it was like, oh no, this could be done tomorrow. Like, we have no idea what's going to happen. And especially with the people that were in charge. Fucking Ronald Reagan was still in charge. Like, he was like, those guys were talking about like fucking first strikes and shit. Like, it was intense. The premise that in the world that Watchmen was published in was 100% a world where most people living believe that there was a really good immediate possibility of nuclear war. And in the in-universe of Watchmen, I believe that the comic narrative establishes that nuclear war is definitely happening, that there is not a question. This is not a maybe situation. It is 100% happening in the world of in-universe of Watchmen. So what are you looking up?
Looking for, there was a big concert in like the early 80s where in Russia, in the Soviet Union, that was like the big moment where it's like, oh, you know what?
No, it wasn't the early 80s. It was the late 80s. You just have the wrong part of the 80s. It was the late 80s. And it's like glasnost era. It might have been like 87, 88. Like, that's how late it was. So, but are we pausing the program for this?
No, you can keep
generic search. I mean, I just think that it's super ahistorical. I think that you're diminishing how present, especially in 85,
I'm not
86.
diminishing how present it was, but there's a difference between the media and the press and stuff pushing like this could happen at any moment and the reality of what was happening at the moment. We see that now. It's not like this is a new thing that is happening in the world.
No, I think that this is, but I think that most people in government and everything Like, I don't think the crumbling of the Soviet Union happened. It was like one of our intelligence failures. We did not know that the Soviet Union was crumbling like this. We did not know. That and 9/11 are like kind of the two big intelligence failures of like the last half century, because we just did not know how fucked they were. And actually, maybe the argument could be that the arms race actually killed them. But anyway.
By the way, the START Treaty was signed in 1982.
Why does the START Treaty feel like that's going to be the...
Because that is the beginning of the cooling of tensions. That's where things started to cool down.
START was signed in 1991. I don't know what you think.
No, START 1 was 1982 to 1991. START 2 was 1991.
START 1, the treaty was signed on 31 July 1991 and entered into force 5 December 1994. You're talking about, is there a different treaty? This is START 1. I'm looking at START 1 right now. Drafted. It took the entire 80s to draft it.
But it was being worked on.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
It's the starting of cooling things down. That's what I'm saying. That's all I said. I didn't say there was zero possibility. I'm saying that the ability, the chances were lowering.
I just don't feel like you could go back to 1983 and say to somebody, hey, they're working on the START Treaty. Feels like it's all over, huh? Nobody in the West would say.
I didn't say that. Fucking hell. That's not what I said. You were so insistent on fucking taking what I say and turning into something else. That's not what I said.
Yeah, but your argument here is based on the idea that nuclear war wasn't going to happen.
Yes, because it fucking didn't.
But I'm saying in the Watchmen universe, it 100% was.
No,
and
it wasn't.
In the world,
Again.
Why do you think it wasn't going to happen in the Watchmen universe?
Because throughout the whole story, the whole thing is Dr. Manhattan is the deterrent. Adrian decides, I'm going to get rid of Dr. Manhattan, and then I'll be the deterrent.
I guess the part that I feel like we're disconnecting on is that Adrian knew Manhattan was going to leave Earth, that this was going to happen, that it was guaranteed, that he knew this was happening.
But he doesn't know when or how, and he has time to come up with a plan.
But the thing is that in this situation, you don't want to be, if you're a strategist, your whole deal is not waiting for the other guy to move. The whole deal is that you have this shit ready to roll when you're ready to roll. It isn't about like, well, one day John's going to go, and I guess we'll just figure it out then, or we'll have a plan for then.
Oh my God, again, you just don't fucking, you keep...
You said that he doesn't know. You say he doesn't know.
Yes, he does not know.
Right.
And his decision is, you know what I'll do? I'll make him leave.
Right.
And then I'll be the one to solve the problem.
Yes.
Instead of being like, okay, we know that at some point he's going to go.
Right.
What we can do is start working on good relations. Instead, he's like, I'll cause all this havoc, lead us to the brink of nuclear war, and then hopefully a giant squid thing will fix the problem.
Well, I just think that there's like a real sense from you that the idea that like, well, we could create good relations just is really super ahistorical. It's just super ahistorical to me.
We can create a giant squid is historical?
No, but within the world where fucking Richard Nixon's on his 4th presidency, and so it's been right-wing politics running America nonstop, hardcore since 1970 or 60.
What is the one considered one great thing that Nixon did as president?
He opened with China. That's diplomacy. Actually, the one great thing that he did was actually the EPA. But diplomacy, I'm not saying diplomacy doesn't work. I'm saying diplomacy was not going to work with the Soviet Union. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it doesn't work. China did not have the same situation that we have with the Soviet Union, which is that the Soviet Union and the United States of America were both actively competing to rule the world. Like that was 100% what was happening. Like on both sides. We were not making that up about them, and they were not making that up about us. That was 100% what was happening. China was not doing that. China wants its sphere of influence, but it does not want to run the whole world. Both these civilizations, the United States and the USSR, wanted to run the whole world. And there's no diplomatic solution to that. You cannot go, like, you could split the world in half, but nobody wants that. They want the world. That becomes the problem. There's like a rationality that you're bringing to it, which does not exist in this situation, which is imperial logic. Imperial logic has no rationality besides the idea that the empire must continue to grow itself. That's the only rationality of imperial logic. And so I just think there was no point where diplomacy was going to happen. I don't think that it could have.
Disagree.
Like it kept us from incineration. Anyway, Anyway, Angela wakes up and she's in Lady True's joint. Lady True is reading Atlas Shrugged. She's reading an on Ayn Rand book. Obviously, Rorschach is a critique of objectivism, which was Steve Ditko's thing. Rorschach is based on The Question. The Question is Steve Ditko's objectivist superhero. And heavily critiquing, Alan Moore's heavily critiquing that stuff here. So having Lady True reading that book, highly meaningful. And we see that Angela is waking up, and Lady True is like, "Hey, welcome back." She's got a tube in her arm, and that's the end of the episode. Big tube. Besides the fact that we strongly disagree about the nature of the Cold War, what did you think of this episode?
It's a great episode.
Terrific
Fantastic episode.
I love that we saved that giant fight for the last 15 minutes of the episode. Nobody's going to be here for it, by the way.
Well,
and this is the shit everybody loves, is like when those big fights, like you got real mad, and people love that.
Because you keep deciding what I'm saying when you're saying not the things I didn't say. And that annoys me. We've discussed this before.
Yeah, so it was a great episode. It's a really important episode. I think that as a work of modern narrative fiction in the current landscape of genre and the tropes contained therein, this is the greatest example of a retcon. And I think it's done so well in a way that enriches the original story as well as this story that's being told. Yes. And it's a big fucking retcon too. It's not a minor retcon. It's for outside huge. People, they'd be like, whatever, like it's not one of the main characters, but it's huge. It's huge within the, like if you're like actually a Watchmen person, which involves obsessing over the back matter. Yeah. This is a big fucking deal. But it's really incredibly well done. And it's so enriching. It's just so enriching. And it's interesting because it's one of the elements of American life that Alan Moore was just ignorant of.
Yes.
Which is racism. It's just not a thing that he was thinking about. And like, as a British guy, not to say Britain doesn't have racism or whatever, but the thing is that racism is so profoundly baked into America that as a Brit, I think maybe it just was not clear to him how... If you're talking about that most American of, superheroes, jazz, these are like American art forms, right? Yeah. Interesting, by the way, this whole episode is jazz drum. The soundtrack.
A lot of it
is jazz. Most of it, except for the needle drops, basically. It's jazz drum. And that's the thing, is that comic books, jazz, and baseball are the three great American things. Those are, America invented these things. And, so I think that he had a blind eye towards how vital race is in the American equation. And this is a real fix to that. Also, this episode won an Emmy for Best Screenplay, and the co-writer, Cord Jefferson, won an Oscar for American Fiction, Best Adapted Screenplay. Nominated for Best Picture. I liked it. I don't know that I think it was a Best Picture.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But I liked it. It was good. It was a good movie. Yeah. But yeah, that's the same guy, Cord Jefferson. So this has some real bona fides, this particular episode. But it was really, really great. And again, I think my favorite part about it is that it is really effortlessly brings comic book stuff into it. Like it doesn't feel like a jolt. Like it's very realistic, and then it's got a hypnosis ray. You're like, sure.
Well, it's got these pills show you other people's memories, and also hypnosis ray. Yeah,
that's the thing. Over. Like you could maybe like
this guy is gonna heat the sun or whatever.
Normally, you would argue that the audience can only do one of those two buy-ins, but this show's like, fuck it, let's just keep doing buy-ins.
Let's go for it. I do wonder if an earlier version of this episode had more of a layout similar to the Dr. Manhattan origin issue, where it's cutting back and forth throughout different times, and then they're like, "No,
I just don't know why you would
really
do
focus." I'm talking about like in the writers' room as they're discussing the episode breakdowns, and they're like, "No, we should just focus on this part."
Yeah, I mean, this is the only part that's really important, fundamentally, to the story that we're being told. Next week, it's the 7th episode. It's called "An Almost Religious Awe." Under Lady True's care, Angela undergoes an unconventional treatment while Agent Blake chases down a lead. Elsewhere, the smartest man in the world delivers a stunning defense of his past actions. So next episode, good. We'll get to argue about this more next week because this is the trial of Adrian Veidt next week. So we can continue us fighting about it more and more and more. And I'm not. By the way, he is a bad guy. Like, don't get me wrong.
You agree with him? You think he's a great hero?
I think he's the greatest hero of all time.
Yeah. I
think he's the only way. I think only his way is the only way. So I definitely whatever the 7th Cavalry is, but for Adrian, that's me. If I can wear like a little circlet on my head and chant Bubastis, Bubastis, Bubastis.
Ozymandias for Ozymandias.
All right, Derek, if people wanted to buy merch about two bickering brothers, where would they do that?
They would go to cinema-sangha.com, and that'll give you a link to the Patreon and to the store.
Beautiful. You could access both. A lot of different ways to give us your money. And please do consider, if you're listening to this for free, do consider joining us on the Patreon. Great Discord. And also you get
another weekly show.
Another weekly show.
Only.
We got the monthly show. We got so much content for you guys. So consider it. Consider doing it. What just happened to you?
I just hate the word content. I don't like it.
Oh, I thought like you were drinking, and I thought you actually went down the wrong pipe.
No.
Because you went, well. I was like, is Derek going to throw up on the show? That's a clip.
That would be great. Yeah.
Derek calling Japan China, and then Derek throwing up. Those are the 2 clips for this episode. All right, we'll see you guys again next week. Until then, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, may you be well, and we will see you across the Omniverse.